necessarily disagree with that, other than to note that training is one of those things that everybody who has anything to do with the grand jury process, from the Grand Jurors Association, those of us who are grand jurors, to the county councils who assist grand jurors, find that the more training a grand jury has, the better the end product is. And that is one of the things that gets addressed frequently. County Council and I have had discussions on this in the past, and I found her to be in agreement with that statement, at least to some portion of it. It's one of those things that you don't see immediately, but you do see in the end product. The fact that it's out of county is simply because there are only so many locations that this training is given. If we try to pull the training into the county, it may be possible, it may save us some money, but only if the Grand Jurors Association will agree to do so. The internally this year, we did about 4 or 5 days actually worth of training inside to make sure everybody was fully acquainted with our manual, with how things should be written, how things should be done in the grand jury. Each year, the grand jury has to adopt its own known new manual, which of course is a major task. One of the things we're doing right now is rewriting our manual to try to make it more efficient for training, and it's something we'll be discussing in the future. Yes, Supervisor Pinchas, I'm sorry I've run over and I apologize.
It's fine. Mr. Pierce, you have state your name for the record, please.
Al Pierce, and I live in Talmadge. I've lived in Mendocino County since 1971. I have served on 6 Mendocino County grand juries. There have been many economic and social changes since 1971, and population growth has been substantial. This has placed a large demand on the political, social, and economic institutions which serve the citizens of this county. One result of these demands has been an increase in the number of reviews, investigations, and reports required of the Mendocino grand jury. Some of this work has been forwarded to succeeding grand juries for consideration and completion. What follows is a brief note on the work of the grand jury since 2001. I'll give you a copy of that in detail. As the foreman has mentioned, the range has gone from 6 reports to 19 reports, and from 26 pages to 153 pages. These were not done on the basis of more work to be done. This was to eliminate as much as possible the complaints which are not suitable. Each grand jury has required initial evaluation, extensive research, personnel interviews, on-site inspections, investigations, report writing, and recommendations. A large portion of the preparatory work has been provided by individual jurists at home or away from home without compensation. The grand jury will continue in the future, as in the past, to provide this service to the citizens of Mendocino County. I'm not yet on a 9 to 5 with the grand jury, but it's getting close to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, thank you, Mr. Finley or Mr. Williams. Finley, Williams.
Close enough. They're both last names.
Okay. With that, I want to pull the board. You know, maybe we should take our lunch hour and come back for the sheriff, because the sheriff indicated that he had about a 15-minute presentation you want to make, Sheriff. So should we stop right here and come back at 1:30? I realize we got a long closed session area this afternoon, but these are really important issues. So with that, we'll return in session here at 1:30. Okay. Is the sheriff? Sheriff, you're going to keep your presentation fairly as brief as you can, right?
I will, Mr. Chair. However, I'll be upfront and say I couldn't expect to finish this in less than 20 minutes, and I don't know about the questions that the board has. So I'll keep mine to 20 minutes. So maybe we could get this after 25 minutes. We'll be done, but I don't think so. But I surely appreciate you allowing me an explanation and an opportunity to discuss the Sheriff's Office budget. For those of us who were in this room in August when the Sheriff's Office budget was approved by the board, you heard me say that just on basic services that the Sheriff's Office budget was going to be approximately $2.2 million short, and I was going to be back in February, and I didn't hear any dissension at that point about the understanding about the Sheriff's Office budget. And with that, we have tried to keep in check several of our costs, and so if you will allow me a little bit of time, we're going to go through what we're doing to cut our costs from the original budget and some of the emergency procedures that we've implemented to assist with the county budget, because we are all in this together. There's no question about it, and you're not going to see anything except a team player aspect from the Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff's Office finds we're in a very unique situation, and we can't say, well, we're going to reduce services and we're going to cut costs by these services, because just, for example, some of the services we cover is the law enforcement. We're the coroner for the county by the Constitution. We're the court security. We're the civil division for the county. We run a very efficient jail I'll get into the average population of that and how the economic times have increased the jail. And most recently, we're running animal control, and I appreciate the Health and Human Services assistance, director's assistance in making the transition very, very, very helpful on that, as well as the CEOs. And of course, we run search and rescue, and search and rescue is something that rarely gets talked about at budget time, and there's a very good reason for that, because search and rescue is fulfilled by about 100 citizens of our county on a volunteer basis. And so when we're talking about Sheriff's Office cuts, I don't want you to think at all that we're not doing what we can to save money and to utilize as many volunteers as possible. The Sheriff's Office covers 98% of the geographical area of this county, and we represent the law enforcement agency for 65% of the population. And so we are the largest law enforcement agency in the county, and with that come many, many responsibilities. And so aside from those responsibilities, we've accepted the responsibilities of trying to help some of the other county departments with their missions also. As you know, the undersheriff is filling in as the acting department head for personnel, for human resources. We're working with mental health to try to transport mental health patients to Ukiah as much as possible so they don't have to respond with their drivers to outlying areas. But that cost is reflected upon what our bottom line is too. And so the cost is going to be paid by somebody, and the Sheriff's Office has the staffing, and we have the vehicles, and we usually have people on at those hours, and that's why we're stepping up to the plate and trying to help other county agencies. One of the more important things that we're doing for general services is we didn't have a current plan for new county employees of driver education. In the Sheriff's Office, we said, well, we're going to take care of that because we have training officers anyway, and so we've worked out a very mutually acceptable arrangement with general services. So we're training the new employees and we're certifying them for driving, and in the past, money that actually costs the county money to pay for the contractors to do the driver education. We're not accepting any of that money. We've asked general services to put 100% of the money into the vehicle replacement fund, because our training officers are out there, and I appreciate the opportunity that we have to put our training officers in the form of training people other than law enforcement. As I said in 2008, in August 2008, at this podium, I said it was going to be $2.2 million more to run the Sheriff's Office. And the CEO and I agreed on many facts of that, and we've had several meetings on trying to control cost, and through Tom Mitchell's wisdom, we've been able to reduce it. And if there is good news to tell you right now, the good news is I don't think we're going to be 2.2 million over. I am predicting we're going to be 1.1 million over. And I know that doesn't sound like great news, but I'm telling you that we haven't reduced services. We haven't reduced any service to the public. We're reducing our overtime. We're trying to consolidate as many services as possible and still provide the necessary public safety functions, which isn't just demanded upon this board, and it's not demanded upon me. It's demanded by the citizens, and very specifically, it's demanded by the Constitution of the state. And so in our plans of cutting costs and cutting our services, I'm going to stand in front of you and tell you we don't have the power to cut some of the services that the Sheriff's Office provides unless we have the power to overrule the state constitution, which of course we don't. And so the mandates upon us are the same as mandates on any other mandated government agency that not forces us, but gives us the authority as well as the responsibility to take care of the necessary job that the Sheriff's Office is going to do. I want to start with our vacancy factor.